Part 28. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 271. Chapter 271 Chapter 271 Stupid and Cute. Consul Joan, you're up late at night, what are you doing here to be a robber and bandit? Fujinexiu put his hands in his pockets and walked casually in the direction of Wenyuaru, looking at Zhongquei with cold eyes. When Wenyuaru saw Fujinexiu appear, his tense nerves immediately relaxed and he stood side by side with him. President Fu, what are you talking about? Yuaru is going to move. I'm going to find a few people to move. Why did he become a robber here? Zhongquei always had a smile on his face. Really? Fujinexiu stared at him with sharp eyes. You can ask Yuaru about this. You came here before all these things were moved. Mr. Fu is still here at such a late hour. Is it true that Yuaru's wedding is not far away? Zhongquei is worthy of being an old fox. He has a lot of words and is smarter than a monkey. However, for Hill, if his brain was not flexible enough, he might not be able to sit in his current position. When our wedding day comes, I will definitely send an invitation to you, Uncle Joan Wenyuaru said on behalf of Fujinexiu. Fujinexiu frowned quickly, but did not directly interrupt Wenyuaru. Then I'm going back soon to prepare a big red envelope. Girl Yuaru, since Mr. Fu is here, let him move your things at home. Zhongquei winked at those people, and those people quickly returned to him. Uncle Joan, I won't send you off, after all, you have such a bodyguard, Wenyuaru said mockingly. Zhongquei smiled and said to her, no need to send her off, Uncle Joan can leave. Goodbye. Zhongquei walked out of the villa, and a man next to him asked him in confusion, Consul, why are we leaving? Does that man have a strong background? Zhongquei still has a smile on his face now, but the expression on his face is also gloomy. He replied, we can't afford to offend that man. He almost controls the economic lifeline of the entire country. Just a businessman. The man's tone was very disdainful. Zhongquei gave free training to his followers. He is not a simple businessman. The Fu family has a foundation of more than 10 generations. You can't imagine how powerful it is behind this. Fu Qiuchao is his brother. Just mention Fu Qiuchao, and the man will stop talking. Relationships in Ruchin are complicated. If you want to live well, you must learn to be smart. You must learn who you can offend and who you cannot offend, Zhongquei patiently explained to him. However, we haven't found anyone, and those people probably won't give up, the man continued. Zhongquei frowned and rolled his calculating eyes. Hit me. Man. If I ask you to fight, you will fight, so that neither of us will offend, Zhongquei said to the man. Consul, what are you doing? The man was frightened. If you are asked to fight, just fight, don't hesitate, Zhongquei scolded. The man struggled in his heart for a while, but finally gave up. Within a few minutes, Zhongquei went home with a bruised nose and a swollen face, but with a smile on his face. Man. He was so happy after being beaten. Didn't it mean his head was broken? The man stood there nervously. Zhongquei called him several times before he followed. Consul, what are you doing? This is called a cruel trick. When I go back later, I will tell them that we have found the person, but he was beaten out. The evidence is on his face. Man. Consul, do we need to beat ourselves up? We are also injured like you, the man asked stupidly. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 272. Chapter 272 Chapter 272 Big Pig's Hoof. As soon as Zhongquei left, Wenyuaru softened instantly. He sat on the sofa, his face haggard and pale, and there was a fine line of cold sweat on his smooth forehead. He said to Fujinexiu a little weakly, Senior, fortunately you arrived in time, otherwise. Wen Yuuru was still halfway through her words when she saw Fujianexu making a blank expression towards her. She relaxed her nerves and became alert, looking at Fujianexu. Fujianexu's cold eyes were half squinted, with a fierce light like a wolf in the dark night. His voice was cold, but the aura in his voice was hard to ignore. All of you in charge are gone. Do you want to put your life on the line, here? Wen Yuuru opened her eyes wide, with a look of horror in them. She didn't expect that there were still people in her home. She looked around nervously, and finally saw a few figures disappearing on the floor-to-ceiling glass, and then she calmed down and opened her lips. He called Fujianexu tremblingly, "Senior. He's gone, go see your brother." Fujianexu slightly raised his eyelids and looked out the door. Okay. Wen Yuuru forced herself to calm down and ran to the dark room to see if the operation was over. Fujianexu took out a pack of cigarettes from his pocket, took out one, lit it, and took a puff. The smoke he exhaled enveloped her face, blocking his gloomy face. Luo Yi hung up the phone and walked to him from the side. "Fifth Master, there are really a lot of people who are ready to move tonight. The uncle said that we can only suppress his side, but I'm afraid there is nothing the military can do." "How long can he suppress it?" "At most tomorrow morning. The president must come out to take charge of the overall situation, otherwise the situation will definitely be out of control." The wrinkles in Luo Yi's brows almost pinched a fly. It is self-evident how complicated such political matters are. If you are not careful, you will get burned. It is impossible not to participate. It is a worry. Tomorrow morning, send out the news about my engagement to Wen Yuuru, so that it can last until Wen Runian wakes up. Fujianexu lowered his eyebrows and put out the cigarette with his fingertips. Luo Yi frowned, pursed his lips, and hesitated for a while before speaking. "Fifth Master, what are you going to do with the little lady?" "Ask Mo Zhongxiang to take her to Tengtu Mountain and stay for a few days until I take care of things here and then bring her back." "Fifth Master, this is not a long-term solution. Your relationship with the young lady has just improved. If the young lady knows this news, I am afraid she will think you are a big pig." Although Luo Yi has never been in love, under Zhao Hui and under the brainwashing, I watched several TV series and learned a lot from TV. Fujianexu narrowed his eyes and looked at Luo Yi, and asked in confusion, "What is a big pig's hoof?" "Fifth Master, big pig's hoof means scumbag," Luo Yi explained to Fujianexu. Sure enough, as he expected, his fifth master's face turned dark on the spot, his two thin lips pursed into a sharp straight line, his cold eyes staring at Luo Yi were extremely cold, and he vomited unusually. "Clearly, I'm not a scumbag." "Luo Yi. He is not Zhang Xiaoxiao, why are you staring at him so fiercely?" "Fifth Master, of course I know that you are wholeheartedly devoted to the little lady, but you are engaged to Miss Wen Yuuru here, and you are having an affair with the little lady over there. Everyone will say that you are a scumbag, and every woman likes a man and is confused in her heart. It's her person. She is the only one in my heart," Fujianexu said coldly to Luo Yi. Luo Yi. He knew that not wearing it meant Zhang Xiao knew it. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 273. Chapter 273. Chapter 273. The Untouchable King of Hell. "Fifth Master, the young lady will definitely be angry. You must be mentally prepared for this," Luo Yi finally reminded his boss kindly. Fujianexu's cold eyes hid a ruthless scourge. "She can't escape my grasp." Luo Yi. He thought that his emotional intelligence was already low enough, but now it seems that he feels that his fifth master's emotional intelligence needs to be improved. "Fifth Master, please take a look at the videos on my USB flash drive when you have time." Luo Yi showed Fujianexu several TV series that Zhao Huiyan had copied to him. Zhongkui's home. When more than 20 people saw Zhongkui appear, their eyes were all focused on him, waiting for him to speak. Zhongkui looked at these people and showed an apologetic smile. Everyone, I'm sorry for not completing the task you entrusted. Don't see anyone, a bald man asked in a deep voice. Zhongkui twitched the purple corners of his lips and said, Deputy Director Wang, don't talk about people. I was beaten out without even seeing a person. Didn't you see that everyone with me has a bruised nose and a swollen face? The bald man looked at the injuries on his face and frowned. She is a girl at home and you were beaten like this. Deputy Director Wang, when I first went there, the little girl Wenyu was at home, so she was easy to deal with, but there was a king of hell on the way. We can't afford to offend the king of hell. Is Nanbei back? The bald man asked. It's not Beinan, it's Fuchinexiu. Wenyu seems to be marrying him. He's here to protect the Wen family. There's nothing I can do. Isn't this all a loss? Zhongkui looked helpless, expressing his helplessness. The bald man's face was dark. This was a good opportunity to bring Wen Runian down, but it was wasted. He believed that those standing behind him would not be willing to accept it. The bald man was silent for a while before speaking. Let the people from the army take action. Zhongkui was shocked by his words. This person must be crazy. Things haven't reached that point yet. If the military's power is really used, then there will be no room for turning around and all he can do is wait and fall. Head, this is a huge gamble. Everyone is betting with their own life. If they win the bet, they will be rich and famous, and they will be famous throughout the ages. If they lose the bet, the consequences waiting for them are completely imaginable. This man wanted to die, so he couldn't let him drag him into trouble. Zhongkui's mind was racing at high speed. Deputy Director Wang, why don't you wait? He was so seriously injured that he can't get better so quickly. Wait one more day and don't act so quickly. The bald man turned around and started discussing with the others behind him. They discussed it for about 10 minutes, then just wait for a day. The stone road in Zhongkui's heart has gone down, and he can still delay it for one day. In the end, it is still good. The political situation is changing the fastest. If Wen Runian does not show up tomorrow, then his position as president will probably be taken by someone else. Everyone, it's so late, do you want to have a midnight snack? Zhongkui is so tactful and knows how to advance and retreat. Consul Zhong, why haven't the people I sent to follow you come back yet? The bald man sounded like a leader. Zhongkui shook his head. Deputy Director Wang, you reminded me but you forgot to follow me. He hasn't come back yet, I'm afraid he's been stopped. Deputy Director Wang, have you forgotten that my people are following you? Deputy Director Wang stared at him seriously and sharply. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 274. Chapter 274 Chapter 274 When will you wake up? Deputy Director Wang, you should know how ferocious Fuchinexiu is. I'm afraid your people won't be able to come back. Zhongkui has already thought of the worst outcome. Fuchinexiu warned him. It was hard to say whether many of those people would come back alive if they were still in the Wen family. After all, Fuchinexiu was known to be cruel and unhuman. The bald man's face was ugly, and he knew exactly what Zhongkui said. He was still very heartbroken when he thought of his own people being damaged. He turned to another man and said, Director Chen, when can you solve that Fukuacheo? The man who was called Director Chen answered him calmly with half-squinted eyes, tomorrow morning. Then just wait one more night. The bald man sat down again, but the atmosphere in the hall was extremely depressing and dull. Wen's darkroom. Fuchinexiu frowned and looked at the person lying on the bed. With a deep voice, he asked Guanyang, when will I wake up? 3 days later, this time the injury is more serious. He was shot in the left waist, shoulder blade, and lung. He will wake up tomorrow morning, but if you want him to be more conscious, I'm afraid it will have to wait until 3 days later. Guanyang Fujianxiu answered with a serious expression. Well, you don't need to go back to the hospital for these 3 days, just stay here and guard him, he can't have any accidents. Fujianxiu told Guanyang not to leave. Guanyang pushed up his glasses. The red bloodshot eyes were obvious. He looked very tired. I will stay, but my dad has to go back to the hospital. The hospital has a very important operation recently. You are back from Chengdu, little girl, have you finished the matter? No, something happened over there, she is still in Rongcheng. You can leave her alone in Rongcheng, and you won't be afraid of something happening if you're not with her, Guanyang continued to ask. Fujianxiu's eyebrows deepened. If anything happens, someone will stay with her and watch over her. Boss, we don't care what you want to do, but the premise is that safety must be ensured. That girl has grown up in the palm of our hands. Guanyang's words are enough to show how important Zhang Xiaoxi's position is in their hearts. Be measured, Fujianxiu replied. Then what are you going to do here? I have to help with the junior sisters matter. The guys from the north and the south are not here either. Those people can still control them all if they are one or two civilizations, but now they are united and it is not easy to deal with. Yang Xiren was talking about the Wen family. Fujianxiu said very calmly, publish the news that Wen Yuuru is my fiancé. Guanyang. Boss, are you ready to give up your time? Guanyang really couldn't accept his operation. Fujianxiu's eyes were piercing towards Guanyang. It's just a favor to the gentleman. Boss, even if I'm returning the favor, do you think I won't have random thoughts when I'm a kid? I'm not very fond of you in the first place. Now that you're doing this series of operations, aren't you seeking death? Guanyang rarely says this. A long list of words, all of which are worrying about them. I will solve this matter completely before she knows about it, Fujianxiu said firmly. Guanyang knew what situation the Wen family was in now. Fujianxiu's method was undoubtedly the best, but whether Zhang Xiaoxiao could accept it was another question. And that guy from Nanbei didn't go crazy when he came back. Boss, is there no other way? Have. What? Kill all the people who are doing things secretly? Guanyang. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 275. Chapter 275. Chapter 275. I will be unhappy. He is now doubting that the person standing in front of him is a fake Fujianxiu. Due to the partisanship, there are so many people in one faction, how can it be possible to kill them all? Boss, the guy from the north and south must be rushing back. We can try to delay it as long as possible, Guanyang suggested. Yeah, Fujianxiu responded lightly, expressing his agreement. Rongcheng. Zhang Xiao listened to Mo Zhangxiang talk about what happened when he was a child, and the two slowly walked back to the hotel. Xiao Xiao, I will take you to Tengtu Mountain tomorrow, Mo Zhangxiang said before saying goodbye to Zhang Xiao. Tengtu Mountain. Mo Zhangxiang offered to take her to the place where her parents died, so of course she wanted to go. Maybe she would hear some clues, so she agreed, okay. See you tomorrow. Mo Zhangxiang returned to his room in a happy mood. Zhang Xiao returned to his room. After washing, he lay on the boat. He took his mobile phone and scrolled through videos. The more he scrolled, the more boring he became. He became depressed. Finally, he looked through the phone book, paused on Fujianxiu's name, and then dialed out. The phone rang for a while and was immediately picked up by someone. What's wrong? When Zhang Xiaoxiao heard the man's voice, his eyes immediately turned red and misty, and his voice sounded as if he had been greatly wronged. Uncle Wu. I'm here, what's wrong? Fujianxiu heard that her voice was wrong, and his heart suddenly felt painful. Uncle Wu, Zhang Xiao called again. Fu Chenxiu answered her patiently. Fifth uncle. I don't know how long the two of them had been having this conversation until Zhang Xiaoxiao said, Uncle Wu, I miss you so much. Fifth uncle, I miss you too. Stay in Chengdu for a few days and I will pick you up in 2 days. Fu Chenxiu comforted someone. Zhang Xiao made a small face and asked in a sour tone, Uncle Wu, are you with Wenyu? Fu Chenxiu responded calmly. Zhang Xiao's face was ugly, and he burst into tears immediately. His heart was so sour. Uncle Wu, can you not be with Wenyu? I will be unhappy if you are with Wenyu. Zhang Xiaoxiao is now transformed into lemon essence, and his whole body is soaked in a vinegar vat. Fu Chenxiu raised his eyebrows, thankful that the little girl seemed to have begun to care about him. This sour tone was so pleasant to his ears. I'm not with her. But you only left after answering her call, Zhang Xiao said sourly. Fu Chenxiu curled his lips. The joy in his heart could not be described in words. Something happened in her family. Do you want to help deal with it? Oh, Zhang Xiao answered him emotionally. Fu Chenxiu was still afraid of what she wanted to say. When I was young, my fifth uncle only loved you. Just remember this. Zhang Xiao curled his lips, but his mood didn't get much better. He likes me and is still ambiguous with Wenyu. Zhang Xiaoxiao's sour tone made Fu Chenxiu chuckle. Are you jealous? No, Zhang Xiao quickly denied. Okay, no, my baby won't be jealous, and my baby won't be sulky. Fu Chenxiu smiled lowly. Zhang Xiaoxiao blushed, hung up the phone shyly, and said to himself in front of the black screen, I'm the only one who's jealous. That puppy is jealous. Whoever you want to like can like you. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 276. Chapter 276. Chapter 276. Senior, are you sure? Although Zhang Xiao said this, he felt sweet in his heart. After recalling his words, Uncle Wu only loves you, the corners of his mouth curved and raised almost to the point of cracking his ears. The budding feelings from deep within can't be controlled no matter what. It turns out that being coquettish with the person you like is such a feeling. It will make people forget about the discomfort of the day and be filled with sweetness. Zhang Xiao rolled over and over on the bed with his cell phone. He was so excited that he couldn't fall asleep. He took many selfies to Fu Chenxiu with his cell phone. After sending the message, before waiting for Fu Chenxiu's reply, he hurriedly turned his phone into airplane mode. However, he couldn't help but want to see if he had replied to his message. In the end, he couldn't help it. He turned on his phone and took the photo he sent. Still there, but no one responded. Zhang Xiaoxiao put his cell phone on his pillow in disappointment, covered his head with a pillow in a depressed mood, forced himself to sleep, and comforted himself in his heart. He must be helping Wenyu handle things, so he didn't see the message. In this kind of psychological relief, she fell into sleep. The next morning, Zhang Xiao was pulled up from the bed by Mo Zhangxiang early. Hurry up, Xiao Shi, if the mountain is blocked by heavy snow later, we won't be able to go to Tengtu Mountain. Mo Zhangxiang, wearing a down jacket, wrapped himself into a rice dumpling and urged Zhang Xiao. Zhang Xiao was still in a state of confusion, just like a robot. Mo Zhangxiang asked her to get dressed, and she obeyed her instructions until she walked out of the hotel door and was blown by the cold wind, which made her feel quite awake. Looking at the snow-covered scenery outside with big watery eyes, he was naturally in a good mood. He had the urge to run and build a snowman, but when he thought of the purpose of going to Tengtu Mountain, he suppressed this urge. Follow Mo Zhangxiang into the car. The car drove smoothly. Zhang Xiao occasionally looked at the scenery outside, and then wanted to take out her mobile phone to listen to music, but found that there was no signal on her mobile phone, which made her frown. Even in the mountainous area, her mobile phone had no signal. When we arrived in the mountainous area, it was useless to bring her mobile phone. Why would she carry it with her? Xiao Xiao, here you go. Mo Zhangxiang handed one of his earplugs to her. Zhang Xiao took the earbuds and listened to the soothing music inside. Secretary Mo, why does your cell phone have a signal, but mine doesn't? I don't have a signal either. I downloaded the music. Tengtu Mountain is a protected area. It's normal for the signal to be poor. Mo Zhangxiang explained to her. Oh, Zhang Xiao didn't think much. She leaned on the car seat, looked out the window, listened to music, and thought about how to check Tengtushan. She also forgot to ask the name of the friend her grandfather mentioned. It was really difficult to check. What's too bad is that there is no signal on the mobile phone. She was so overwhelmed by her emotions last night that she forgot to prepare anything. Zhang Xiao was feeling annoyed here, but a storm was still going on over at Fu Jianxiu's side. Senior, do you really want to announce it? Wen Yuuru asked him again with certainty. Fu Jianxiu glanced at the people lying on the bed with oxygen and could only keep their eyes open, and nodded. Well, my brother called me just now, and those people couldn't hold it anymore. Senior, thank you. I will explain it to your little girl. Wen Yuuru was grateful to Fu Jianxiu from the bottom of his heart for his help. He was using the power of the Fu family to help him. He remembered this feeling. There are a lot of typos in the first few chapters. I will ask the editor for permission to correct them when I am on vacation next month. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 277. Chapter 277. Chapter 277. Engagement. When talking about Zhang Xiaoxiao, Fu Jianxiu's tough face naturally softened. Thinking of the photo of Xiao hair of him on the phone, the softness deep in his eyes was obvious. Yeah, Fu Jianxiu agreed. This matter still needs someone to explain it to her, otherwise it will be really difficult for the little girl to deal with it. After the two of them negotiated, Weibo headlines exploded at 9 o'clock that day. As the president's sister, Wen Yuuru's every move attracts the attention of people across the country, and she personally posted a Weibo post. Ifees with a picture of an engagement ring. Fu Jianxiu also cooperated by giving a like on her Weibo without any other explanation. Then came Wen Runian's comment, my cabbage was finally delivered today. This kind of internet-style evaluation by the president paralyzed the Weibo server at that time, and hundreds of millions of people commented on it. On the first floor, #president actually compared the president of Fu Group to a pig, ha ha ha, it's so funny. On the second floor, only pigs like Fu Jianxiu dare to provide cabbage to the president's house. Third floor, #what kind of fairy love is this? The national princess and Fu Jianxiu are actually classmates, so sad. Fourth floor, the former Zhou Yuling was probably created by the two of them to avoid their underground relationship to confuse the public. Fifth floor, agree with what the fourth floor said. Sixth floor, the president is feeling sorry for his own cabbage, we are feeling sorry for our pigs, wow, I lost another husband. Seventh floor, I lost 2 husbands today, and 1 ye 11. My brother has released a new album, and the clip of dancing with a girl in it made me sore. The 7th floor was quickly pushed to the top. The second hot search is The administrator of Weibo almost wanted to cry. There was 1 top-level traffic manager and 2 national traffic users. The Weibo server had been paralyzed for several hours. Did they discuss this? Fifth master, the people over there have stopped moving and are probably still waiting and watching. Luo Yi told Chen Qiu the latest news. The old man's connections don't need to be touched for the time being. Fu Jianxiu was helping Wen Runian handle official affairs while talking to Luo Yi. Okay, Luoyi agreed and went to the side to make a phone call. Wen Yuuru looked at the exact same notes between Fujinexiu and her brother. She was so shocked that she couldn't believe it. She and Fujinexiu had known each other for 10 years, and his handwriting was completely different from her brother's. Now their handwriting was completely different. All the same, she began to doubt life. "Senior, are you possessed by my brother?" Wen Yuuru asked without thinking. Fujinexiu didn't even raise his eyelids at all, and answered her calmly, "Did you spend some time in the metaphysics department before and your brain was damaged?" Wen Yuuru smiled awkwardly and said, "Senior, please go see my brother after you finish your work. Wait 5 minutes and answer the phone for me." Fujinexiu stopped her. "Wen Yuuru?" He asked her to help answer his call. Could it be that it was a call from her little girl and she needed help in explaining it? Wen Yuuru thought this in his mind. He sat in front of the phone, looked at the time on it, and counted. As soon as the time reached 5 minutes, a call came in. Wen Yuuru pressed the answer button, and a familiar grumpy voice came from the voice, "Boss Fu, taking someone's wife is equivalent to killing their parents. Wen Yuuru has been mine for a long time. Even if I want to help her, I don't need to tell the whole world that I'm not afraid of you. The little girl is making trouble with you." End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 278. Chapter 278. Chapter 278. Give me back my wife. Even if you are not afraid of your little girl making trouble with you, aren't you afraid that I will make trouble with you? Boss Fu, you are taking your brother's wife away. Give me back my wife. The North and South are irritating at the end of the phone, just like a too hastily, attracting a watch at the airport. Wen Yuuru listened to what he said, his cheeks were hot and he said, "Nanbei, what nonsense are you talking about? What do you mean I have been your woman for a long time?" Hearing the voice of his own woman, Nanbei's irritable tone softened. "You are my woman, don't you want to sleep with me and I won't admit it?" Wen Yuuru. This man can knock everyone down. Whoever left back then and who is coming back now, she has been led by him all the time. Nanbei, do you need me to remind you? I officially broke up with you a week ago. From now on, you will walk on your Yangguan Avenue and I will walk on my single plank bridge. We don't want to do each other, Wen Yuuru said to him angrily. Nanbei scratched his short hair irritably. Damn, he was wrong. Isn't that okay? He had already apologized when he came back last time. It was his fault that he left early before waiting for her answer. This situation is really not suitable for quarreling now. You, I don't want to quarrel with you, but remember, you are my woman from the North and South, and I will kill anyone who dares to come close to you. Heh, don't you think you came back late? Now I don't need you anymore. It's over between us. Wen Yuuru hung up the phone with a cold expression, turned around and left the study. As soon as she walked out of the study door, the phone rang again. Fujinexiu answered it and heard the man's humble apology. You, it's all my fault. You can punish me however you want, durian, keyboard, whatever you choose. He has left. Fujinexiu interrupted him coldly. Bainan recovered on the spot. Boss Fu, is my Yu leaving? I went to pick durians. North and South. He gritted his teeth and replied to Fujinexiu, Boss Fu, I'm waiting to see the day when you are taken care of by your little girl. Fujinexiu frowned lightly, imagined the scene, and finally said seriously, I choose to kneel on the keyboard. North and South. Is this still the aloof Boss Fu? Jun Fang, you go and take care of it. Fujinexiu did not continue to talk to him about anything else and got down to business. Old man, if you dare to bully my women, do it to them. There was a fierce look in the eyes of Nanbei and Nan. Well, take care of it. It will take some time for Wen Runian to be able to remove the oxygen tube and appear in the public eye. Fu Jianxiu told him about Wen Runian's situation. Nanbei told him with certainty, "Don't worry about the Jun side. If they jump out, I will be dead." After the two people finished their simple conversation, Luo Yi walked in again. "Fifth Master, the young lady has arrived at Tengtu Mountain. Get her some clues and don't let her go down the mountain too early." "Fifth Master, do you really want the young lady to know her own life experience? Do you want to help deal with the Mo family?" Luo Yi asked worriedly. "As long as she wants, I will satisfy her," Fu Jianxiu said softly, as if the things he worried about were nothing. "The old man doesn't seem to want the young lady to know," Luo Yi said worriedly. "I was young, and I couldn't do anything about it myself," Fu Jianxiu replied calmly. End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 279. Chapter 279. Chapter 279 will not object. Luo Yi could already see the quarrel between the two father and son in the future. "Fifth Master, the old man didn't touch the Mo family at first. Just out of some affection, you should be more relaxed." Fu Jianxiu didn't answer him, so Luo Yi wisely went to the side to deal with matters in the Fu group. When Chu Hanyu saw the news of Fu Jianxiu and Wen Yueru's engagement, he was furious. He frantically called Zhang Ziaxi, but couldn't get through. In the end, he used the old method and went to Nangzi courtyard to stay. She hurriedly changed her clothes, went to Nangzi courtyard, and wandered into the dog hole she had drilled before. Just when she was debating whether to drill it, Butler Zhu appeared behind her, smiling eyes. "Niu, it seems that this I'm going to fill the dog hole." Chu Hanyu looked at Butler Zhu in embarrassment. "Butler Zhu, please stop teasing me. Are you at home?" "Little miss, I went to Rongcheng to play. The old man saw you on the surveillance camera and asked me to call you in." Butler Zhu made an invitation gesture. Chu Hanyu walked in front and asked Butler Zhu first, "Butler Zhu, is it true that Uncle Fu Wu and Wen Yueru are engaged?" "It should be true," Butler Zhu replied. Chu Hanyu was not in a good mood. She originally had a little hope, but now she has no hope at all. "Butler Zhu, have you discussed the engagement of fifth Uncle Fu with Grandpa Fu? The old man is extremely satisfied with Miss Wen and will not object." Chu Hanyu is now even more worried about Wei Zhang. The old man is satisfied with Wen Yueru, which makes it even more difficult to deal with. "Butler Zhu, do you think the old man would rather be young or Wen Yueru?" Chu Hanyu asked. Butler Zhu smiled and looked at her. "Niu, of course Miss Wen can't compare with the little miss. The little miss's status in the old man's mind is not even comparable to that of the fifth master." When Butler Zhu said this, Chu Hanyu breathed a sigh of relief. He felt relieved. As long as the old man loved Zhang Ziaxi, it would be easy. While the two were chatting, Chu Hanyu had already entered Nangzi courtyard. He saw the old man drinking tea in the garden from a distance, and called out sweetly, "Grandpa Fu." The old man looked at her with a kind smile on his face. "You girl haven't come to visit me for a long time." "Grandpa, no, I want to come see you." "Can I hide the things about my family from you?" Chu Hanyu said coquettishly. Mr. Fu laughed twice. "What's going on with you girl and that boy from the Yin family? Your grandfather Yin is getting thinner and thinner because of the things between you two." "Then I'll go see Grandpa in 2 days." Chu Hanyu was very good to those who pampered her since she was a child. "Tell me, Grandpa, what's going on between you and that boy in Nangsuan? I heard you've broken off the engagement," the old man gossiped while holding a teacup. Chu Hanyu curled his lips and said, "Grandpa Fu and Xiaoxian came to break off the engagement first." "You don't like him?" "Well, I don't like it anymore." Chu Hanyu's eyes were wide open and serious. The old man squinted his eyes, took a sip of tea, and asked, "Now you like that boy Chen biking?" "I'm in contact, at least I don't hate it now," Chu Hanyu answered honestly. "Your grandpa and will be sad if you say that. He has been looking forward to you marrying into their family for so many years," the old man teased her. Chu Hanyu. End of this chapter. After wearing the book, I became the group favorite. Author, Little Ginger. Chapter 280. Chapter 280. Chapter 280. When I was a girl. Now that my Xiao is finally getting married, it's my turn to show off in front of him. The old man smiled cheerfully. Chu Hanyu. Is this fun among the elderly? It's best. I'll have a grandson next year and I'll make you grandpa. And so angry the old man was like a little kid, squeaking. Chu Hanyu said. If it was her fault that Grandpa An was so angry that she couldn't bear the responsibility. Grandpa Fu, why was the engagement between Uncle Fu and Wenyuru so sudden? Chu Hanyu brought the topic back. The old man put down his teacup, looked at Chu Hanyu's long-lived eyebrows and moved his eyebrows. He smiled and said seriously, "Well, it's very possible that he is getting married to his son." Chu Hanyu was petrified on the spot. Is the old man going crazy because he wants to hold his grandson? If Uncle Fu Wu had a fight with Wenyuru, she would twist off her head and play it as a ball for the old man. Hurry to shatter the old man's dream. Grandpa, I don't think fifth Uncle Fu likes Wenyuru, so it's impossible to get pregnant or something. What do you know, a girl like you? When have you ever seen your fifth Uncle Fu having food with other women? When have you ever seen your fifth Uncle Fu admit his relationship and even like it? The old man asked in a deep voice. Chu Hanyu answered the old man on the spot, Grandpa, of course I have seen it. Uncle Wu has been picking up food for me for 10 years. Everyone in my circle of friends likes me. That Uncle Wu will always be the same. Ours don't count, Grandpa, I'm talking about women, the old man emphasized. Isn't she a woman? The old man had a mouthful of tea stuck in his throat and almost choked himself to death. When I was a child, I was a girl, but your fifth Uncle Fu is looking for a woman. Can they be compared? Girls will not turn into women in the end, and Uncle Fu Wu has already turned into a woman when he was young, Chu Hanyu muttered in his heart. Facing the old man, he showed another face, smiling, Grandpa Fu, you are right, don't get excited, Uncle Fu will beat me to death if I choke you. Okay, you girl, don't be poor. Your fifth Uncle Fu is engaged now. I'm afraid I won't be able to accept it for a while. If you have time, go to Chengdu for Grandpa. The old man looked at her. Grandpa, how did you know that I couldn't accept it when I was young? Chu Hanyu asked deliberately. The old man frowned, with a worried expression on his face. Of course Grandpa knows, I have lived with your Uncle Fu Wu for so many years when I was a child, and now that someone has come to share her favor with her, my mood may be a bit overwhelming, and it takes time to accept it. You help me distract her. Grandpa, I can't even get through the phone right now. How do I know where she is in Rongcheng? If I wanted to know where she was, I wouldn't come to your house to talk to you, Chu Hanyu said aggrievedly. The old man couldn't help but smile when he thought of what he saw on the surveillance camera. You girl, if you can't walk through the main entrance well, why are you going to dig into a dog hole? It seems that you climbed up today. There is no signal on the mountain. It's normal. If you go to Rongcheng and contact Luo Yi directly, he knows the specific location of the hour. Grandpa, I'm going to the airport first. Chu Hanyu is an activist. I'll ask the butler to take you to the airport. Good. On the way to the airport, Chu Hanyu made a phone call to Luo Yi and asked Zhang Xiaoxi which hilltop he had gone to. Then he went straight to Rongcheng, completely forgetting about his original appointment. End of this chapter.